Hello and welcome to my video blog. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Allen Hinton, and today I'm going to be talking about social and emotional learning. The COVID-19 pandemic and quarantine in the 2020-2021 school year resulted in a year and a half of distance learning for most students in the public school systems. Teachers and students had to learn quickly how to negotiate the digital technologies required to conduct school in a virtual environment. And while there was a steep learning curve for many, including myself, most would agree that utilizing these technologies overall was a good thing. After all, virtual teaching and learning increased students' and teachers' proficiencies in using learning management systems and Google Workspace for education fundamentals such as Google Docs, Slides, Sheets, Drive, Forms, and Jamboard. Many teachers will continue to use these technologies as they return to in-person teaching, which will hopefully contribute to a transformation of traditional classroom spaces into hybrid learning environments. And despite these advancements, however, there have been significant challenges to learning online. As a result of the quarantine, students spent hours in front of a computer screen with few opportunities to engage in interaction with their peers, which according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention negatively impacted their emotional well-being. This trauma was caused by abrupt changes to their routines, breaks in the continuity of their learning, disrupted health care, missed significant life events, and lost feelings of security and safety. In addition, students suffered from virtual learning fatigue, resulting from a lack of seeing other students' facial expressions, eye contact, and body language. Further, students had to contend with other stress-inducing factors such as family members' loss of employment, health emergencies, various forms of abuse and neglect associated with the added stresses of the quarantine, and of course isolation, and in some cases the death of a loved one. In other words, the quarantine and distance learning has refocused the need for educators to practice social and emotional learning. According to the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, or CASEL, SEL, or social emotional learning, is defined as the, quote, process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals. Show sympathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. CASEL lists 5 interrelated core competencies as part of the SEL framework. These competencies can be taught to students of all ages from early childhood to adulthood in any subject area. SEL can be folded into an already existing lessons with only slight modifications. In one of the most well-known large-scale studies of SEL, researcher Joseph Durlock and his associates conducted a meta-analysis of 213 schools-based SEL programs in grades K through 12. This involved over 270,000 students, and research indicates that social emotional learning increases social and emotional skills, boosts positive behavior, and improves academic achievement while lowering emotional distress levels and decreasing student conduct and behavior problems. Research also indicates that SEL education has long-term benefits. In a 2012 meta-analysis of 75 previous studies, SEL and behavior programs have been shown to improve students' social, emotional well-being, as well as attitudes up to 7 months after receiving SEL instruction. Looking beyond formal SEL programs, a recent study of over 570,000 students demonstrated that individual teachers who introduce SEL approaches into their classrooms see an increase in positive student outcomes and behaviors and decreases in negative ones, such as absences, suspensions, and dropouts. So the first competency in the SEL framework is self-awareness. Self-aware students know who they are. They have forged an identity by understanding their strengths and their weaknesses in areas of academic and personal interest. They have a sense of confidence and purpose because they know their emotions, thoughts, and values and can utilize them to achieve their goals. They have a growth mindset and experience a high degree of self-efficacy due to positive self-images and perceptions. Self-aware students display honesty and integrity and actively monitor their biases and their prejudices, which is essential for workers who will find themselves in an increasingly diverse workplace in their interconnected global economy. The next competency is self-management. Self-management means that students can regulate their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors and delay gratification to pursue short-term, medium, and long-term goals. They've developed techniques that help manage stress, and they understand the importance of emotional and physical self-care. In addition, good self-managers take the initiative and assume leadership roles when necessary to fulfill personal and collective objectives. The next competency is social awareness. Socially aware students try to understand the perspectives of all people and continuously strive to empathize with people different from themselves. They seek to identify and dismantle institutional racism and are actively engaged in anti-racist thinking. Those students who benefit from their privilege regarding race, gender, and socioeconomic backgrounds use their power to ally themselves with diverse actors in the fight for social and economic justice, understanding that their role is to support, not supplant, marginalized voices in the pursuits of equity. The next competency is relational or relationship skills. The ability to form healthy and supporting relationships with people of diverse backgrounds may be one of the most critical skills that students will need to be successful in the 21st century economy. As workspaces become more diverse, students will need to communicate and collaborate across cultures effectively. In addition, they must be skilled in constructive conflict resolution by having a high degree of cultural competency and empathy to avoid cultural misunderstandings. The next competency is responsible decision making. Life is about choices, and students need to make good decisions based upon sound judgment and high ethical standards. They need to analyze problems, including all available data and information, and entertain a wide variety of solutions from various points of view to understand how their decisions will affect others. Additionally, they must take responsibility and ownership of their choices and reflect on the consequences of their decisions. While social and emotional learning is a non-academic subject, schools need to teach these skills to prepare their students to work effectively in the modern knowledge economy. In a recent Forbes magazine article by Byron Sanders, he points out, quote, "An emerging benefit of explicit SEL instruction is that it builds the emotional intelligence and agility that businesses and industry is starting to name among the most desired workforce skills for both their well-being and their future economic opportunities." SEL is power. In other words, if students are to be successful in the 21st century economy, it is vital that they possess the skills and the dispositions that will help them become more effective at regulating their emotions, better communicators, collaborators, and conflict resolvers. In addition, the workers in the 21st century will need to possess the cultural competencies to negotiate the challenges of working cross-culturally in an increasingly shrinking world. I know many teachers might be thinking to themselves, great, one more thing to do in an already dense curriculum, and of course with little time to do it. How in the world am I going to implement social emotional learning? The answer is that with a little intentionality, and forethought, you can seamlessly add social and emotional learning into your daily lessons. An effective way to do this is by verbalizing what social emotional core competency you want your students to incorporate. For example, you could display a poster in your classroom that outlines the 5 core competencies for easy reference. Teachers can help students become more self-aware by having their students pair up at the beginning of class and to do a check-in so that you can gauge their emotional well-being and the temperature of the room. Tell students before we begin today's lesson, I want to get a sense of where we are at emotionally. Pear Deck has some tremendous free starter screens for you to use with your students. You can help your students practice self-management by explicitly asking them, quote, "What have you done today that will help you achieve your short, your medium, or your long-range goals?" You should do this as part of a warm-up activity or maybe as an exit ticket. Help students practice social awareness by intentionally examining various points of view of a topic under study. For example, in a history class studying the Great Depression, the teacher could ask, how did the Great Depression impact people of color, the poor, or women? Many teachers are already helping their students build relationship skills. They do this when they engage their students in collaborative learning strategies, such as Think, Pair, Share, the Jigsaw method, or other team building type of exercises. Be intentional. Tell students, for this exercise, I want you to concentrate on your communication skills. Express yourself succinctly and clearly. Make sure that your audience understands the point of your message. Teach students responsible decision-making by providing them with the 7-step decision-making model. You could practice by having students think about, what college they want to go to. Say to students, today, you are going to decide on what college you want to go to based upon the following decision-making steps. Number 1, identify the problem. Number 2, gather relevant information. 3, identify alternatives. 4, weigh the evidence. 5, choose the best solution among other options. And 6, take action. And number 7, review the decision and its consequences. Thank you for watching. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Allen Hinton, and I'm located on the web at www.jeffreyhinton.com. www.jeffreyahinton.com. There you can find my blog, videos, as well as other free content. I would appreciate it if you'd like this video and click on the notification button and let me know what you think about this video in the comments section. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'd love to hear that too. Thanks for watching.